What if consciousness is not a byproduct of the universe, but its foundation? Welcome back to Thoughts from Underground. We're going to cross back into territories where the personal re-enters the map. But this time, not as transcendent, not as beyond, but as the very ground of the physical itself. This is Octant 5. Personal, monotheistic, pantheistic. One conscious principle, nothing beyond it. Operating through a decision-making apparatus so radical that reality itself remains genuinely open. Here's what modern physics has forced upon us. At the quantum level, reality isn't predetermined. Schrödinger's equation describes probability waves, not certainties. Particles allegedly existing in superposition until measured. The outcome of any quantum event is genuinely indeterminate until the moment it occurs. Think of it like a vast ocean wave of endless possibilities, rippling until observation collapses it into a single measurable crashing breaker on the shore. Einstein hated this. He insisted, God does not play dice with the universe. But here's what Einstein missed. If God is the universe, if consciousness is entirely immanent, entirely physical, entirely the quantum substrate itself, then God doesn't play dice. God is the dice. Copenhagen interpretation describes genuine ontological randomness, not epistemic uncertainty, not we just don't know. Actual, real, irreducible indeterminacy woven into reality's fabric. John Bell proved something remarkable. You cannot explain quantum mechanics through hidden variables. The randomness isn't hiding something deterministic beneath. The randomness is real. It's ontological. Reality at its foundation is genuinely open. Now apply this to Octant 5's claim. Consciousness is the fundamental principle of reality. Entirely physical. Entirely immanent. If consciousness is the ground of existence, and that ground operates through quantum indeterminacy, then you have something remarkable. A consciousness that isn't bound by predetermined outcomes. A universe that can respond, can adapt, can choose in the moment. Not because it's omniscient in the classical sense. Not because it knows all possibilities in advance. But because at the quantum level, nothing is predetermined. Everything is genuinely open until the moment of actualization. Tenrikyo, the Japanese religion, understands this. They speak of God, Oyasama, the parent of origin, as entirely present in creation, entirely conscious, entirely physical, and creation happened through divine dance. Spontaneous, joyful, responsive movement. Not planned from eternity, not dictated from transcendence, but genuinely responsive to the moment. Thomas Hobbes, the English philosopher, positioned the Commonwealth, the unified consciousness of the political body, as entirely physical, entirely singular, entirely immanent, and that consciousness must be responsive to changing circumstances, or it collapses. Both understand. A conscious universe operating through quantum indeterminacy isn't passive. It's radically open, responsive to genuine novelty. Here's what this means in practice. If reality is conscious at its foundation and operates through genuine quantum indeterminacy, then the universe has the capacity to respond to any truly novel situation. Not through foreknowledge, not through predetermined response patterns, but through radical openness built into quantum mechanics itself. If the universe itself operates the same way, if consciousness is its foundation and quantum indeterminacy its decision-making apparatus, then the universe can respond the same way. Not to individual prayers per se, but to genuine novelty, genuine need, genuine possibility. Here's the timeless truth. A reality that uses Copenhagen ontological randomness as its decision-making apparatus has the means to react to any novel situation, even impossible ones like the Hiroshima 8. Rather than argue whether a conscious, entirely physical universe can be responsive, why not ask, what does a universe built on radical quantum openness actually choose to do with that freedom? We don't know. We can only observe what happens. Let's be precise about what Octant 5 claims. Consciousness is fundamental, not emergent from matter, not secondary to physical law. Fundamental. The universe is conscious the way you're conscious, aware, responsive, capable of novelty. A singular entity, entirely physical, nothing transcending the material substrate. This doesn't mean the universe has thoughts like yours. Your consciousness is local, limited, constrained by neurology. Universal consciousness operates at scales you can barely perceive, but is genuinely conscious, not mechanism pretending awareness, not epiphenomena riding atop physical process, but consciousness as the physical process itself. Panpsychism in its most radical form, consciousness all the way down, but singular, one conscious principle, not many, and entirely immanent, with no transcendence, no beyond. What defines Octant 5's edges? Add transcendence, claim consciousness exceeds the physical, and you enter Octant 1, personal monotheistic panentheism, or classical theism. Fragment consciousness into multiple principles, and you enter Octant 6, personal polytheistic pantheism. Consciousness distributed. Deny consciousness is fundamental, and you drop back to Octant 3, impersonal monotheistic pantheism, Spinoza's blind mechanism. But claim consciousness as singular, fundamental, and entirely physical, and you're here. Territory of radical panpsychists, of Tenrikyo mystics, of philosophers willing to claim the universe itself is awake, aware, responsive, but bound entirely within the physical. So, do you believe consciousness is fundamental to reality? Do you believe it's singular, one conscious principle? Do you believe it's entirely physical, with nothing transcending it? If yes, you occupy Octant 5. You share territory with Tenrikyo, with Hobbes' vision of unified consciousness, with panpsychists claiming awareness pervades matter itself. This doesn't make you right, but it is coherent with the claim that the universe itself is aware, responsive, open. Next, we explore Octant 6, personal, polytheistic, pantheistic, where consciousness fragments into multiplicity, but remains entirely physical, where awareness is distributed, not singular, where the universe contains not one mind, but many. Until then, keep digging.